And then, everyone will experience those strings of losses and you're like back to the dumps. You're back down to where you began or even below that. So I think all the traders, when you're starting off, and even, maybe the experienced traders at some point would feel just helplessness at times.
All right, guys, welcome to the Relatable Trader Show here on YouTube, where we talk to traders just like you and I, traders who might not necessarily have it all figured out. I am your host, Brandon, also known as EkataTrading, and the goal of this show is to allow you to be able to relate to other traders. We speak about what a trader might be going through and give any advice that we can offer. If you, the viewer, can provide any advice based on any issues outlined that you might have had experience with, be sure to leave it in the comments below. If you like this type of content, be sure to hit the like button. Let us welcome our guest today. So, what is your name? What do you wish to be identified by?
You can call me Ken.
Ken, nice to meet you, man. So, what we'll be doing, just tell me, like, how long have you been trading, Ken?
Oh, so I'd say definitely started at the start of this year, so around 5 to 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
All right. And what style is it exactly that you're trading?
Okay, so before I started with, like everyone else, YouTube, a lot of books and whatnot, and I stumbled upon, I think it was the Trading Channel or something on YouTube,
Right.
where he was just simply doing a double top, double bottom hidden divergence. Very simple with the RSI. I found that to be a little bit too subjective, at least at the time. I couldn't really read charts that well, so I stuck with that for a couple months, and then obviously I found you and your trading system.
Right. Okay. And you use my trading style right now, yes?
Yeah, trying to implicate it. Yeah.
Good. That brings me to the next question. So, what exactly do you understand by my trading style? Just give me like a brief explanation.
I think the thing about your trading style, Brandon, that I liked was actually the crossover. Funny enough, not in the fact that you're using EMA's crossover as a signal itself to get in, but how we are following market structure, and that's just your extra,
Confluence,
icing on the cake, to get in. So
right.
With that sort of trading system, I feel safer to be in a trade, to be honest with you.
Because there are more confluences involved.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, nice. And would you say, and I mean, you can be honest on this one, would you say that you practice the rules that I have outlined exactly?
What I'll do on TradingView when I'm actually trading, and right now I'm just demo trading and paper trading.
Right.
But what I would do is I would flag each trade that I'd say is yours to a T, or at least really close to it. And the ones that I'm trying to like somewhat see how it plays out, just to get a bit of screen time, I'll flag as another column.
So you feel like you're close in terms of you're close to what I would typically look for, but you're not quite there yet.
Yeah, so basically those perfect setups are close to yours, right? Pretty much identical. And the setups that are a little bit, not so much there, but I just want to see how it plays out just to gain experience, that will be a separate trade in itself, you know what I mean?
Right. All right, good. Are you where you want to be as a trader?
Definitely not.
Okay, all right, good. So where do you want to be? What is the goal? What's the goal?
The goal is, I'd say the goal is to work with the numbers in that I'd want a decent risk to reward and win rate at the same time. I'm not sure the actual figure because I haven't got enough experience right now, but definitely something positive.
So this brings me to my first piece of advice, where the difference between a dream and a goal is a dream is just a dream, A dream is just, this belief that you might have that you can do, whereas a goal is clearly outlined in terms of words and numbers, right?
Yeah.
So the reason
Yeah.
why I asked where you want to be is because if you don't know where you want to be, how do you expect to get there?
Mm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So
True.
you should be
True.
able to outline exactly where you want to be almost immediately. Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
I think going back on that, Brandon, probably where I want to be in terms of the short term, I definitely know is just to at least get break even. You know what I mean? Just to tally up all my trades, and as long as I'm break even or a little bit profitable, that's where I'm heading for. That's where my goal, short term goal is.
What I would say is try to aim for more profitable, or I would say aim for profitable, because if you fall short, you'll get break even. Whereas if you aim for break even, you might still end up falling short and still be at a loss.
Yeah.
All right. So not bad, not bad. So right now you are not profitable even in demo, correct?
Yes.
Right. What keeps you going?
Well, basically right now I'm working full time and trading on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, trading is pretty fun, man. I'm like, I knew I wasn't here to make money quick. That was already the mindset coming in. It was just right now I'm enjoying what I'm doing and looking at the chart, seeing how it moves, pretty much.
Okay, interesting. So you would say that your pure love for this thing is what drives you to keep going, despite the fact that you're not where you want to be.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good. So what about your risk management? We spoke a little about that earlier. You said that you wanted to get some better risk management. What is your current risk management? What is your current risk to reward?
Yeah. So with your system currently, Brandon, in terms of trailing our stops and whatnot. So really there isn't a target. That's the reason why I didn't have a really set figure of my risk to reward, because our trades and the system that I've learned, at least from what I've gathered, is very dependent on what the market can give us.
Absolutely.
So in terms of risk management with my trades, it's always 1%. Like I'm not changing that. I haven't changed that.
Good.
And then the risk to reward will just be dependent on the trade and what the market can give us.
Right. Would you say that you have like an average risk to reward of 1 to 2, 1 to 3?
Yeah, it'd definitely be on the low end for sure.
Okay.
I have hit some 5s.
1 to 5.
But for the most part, it's been around that 2 to 3, I guess.
1 to 2, 1 to 3. All right, good. This is an interesting question. Tell me about your best trade to date.
Best trade to date.
Well,
look, because I've only just recently got onto EkataTrading and new Brandon.
right.
I can't say that's the reason why I can't say I have too much data to back myself up.
That's fine.
But I did get into a 1 to 5 trade. I think it was on USD JPY.
Okay.
And basically, I'm not even too sure if it was luck or not. I have screenshots, but I'm not sure if it was me getting in lucky.
Right.
But it did follow that crossover, bullish structure and just getting in at the right time.
Right. And so what would you say that you did? What would you say that you think you did right? Was there any defining moment within that, or did you feel like everything just aligned, or you feel like you did something completely different?
I think what I did right was just confluence, man. Like
Confluence.
Market structure was bullish, EMA's crossed over bullish, got in on a bearish candle to get a better entry, 10 pip stop loss, boom, let it run.
Nice. And that basically gave you 1 to 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. So that would have been a 5% return on a 1%. Not bad. Yeah. All right. So let's go on the flip side of things now. Tell me about your worst trade to date.
I think worst trade for me would be a series of trades, man. So just I limit myself to for a one instrument at least trading it 2 times.
Okay.
Sometimes it gets to 3 times in terms of the entries. And I think with worse trades, because we've got a 10 pip stop loss, you really don't have a worse trade, but it's just trying to hit that one instrument and failing multiple times.
Right. So it's not a scenario where you had like this one that went over 100 pips in drawdown or something like that. You haven't had that.
Nah,
Well, that's good.
never.
Thank the Lord for that, because I can tell you, most traders will tell you that they have all had that scenario happen. So the fact that you haven't had that happen is very good. Right.
Yeah.
So what would you say that you think you did wrong with that string of trades where you just were trying to get this one win? What would you say you think you did wrong?
Looking back on it, I didn't think. I think I didn't look at higher time frame.
Okay.
I didn't have a understanding of where the market was, where what zones it was at, and
right.
It was just 15 minutes trying to look for a trend line, trying to force the trade rather than really analyze the market, analyze the price.
Interesting. What about, like, would you consider that to have been over trading at all?
I wouldn't say over trading, because at the time it did look like a setup for me.
Okay.
Obviously, in hindsight, everything looks a little bit more clear, but it did look like a potential trade, and I have given myself a set of rules to trade something at least 2 to 3 times.
Okay.
Before giving up on it. Yeah.
Okay. And each trade would have been 1% risk?
Yeah. 1% risk.
So my question again comes back to 1% risk on the same setup 2 to 3 times. You don't consider that over trading?
No. I think, look, 1% risk at this time, Brandon, because again, it's demo trading, but I will be starting a small account when I start first.
Yeah.
My risk, that's what I'll be willing to risk each time for a trade.
Okay. Well, yeah. I can tell you that whatever you do in demo, I mean, we are creatures of habit. Whatever you do in demo will carry over to live, right? It'll just be amplified by the real emotions. But
yeah,
so like the next piece of advice I would give is be careful with that, because it is considered over trading. Even if the setup presents itself, I would consider it over trading, because for me, if I take a trade and I'm wrong, it's because that first entry that I was anticipating was wrong. So
yeah,
why would I go back 20-30 minutes later to maybe see another candle? It means that I'm now starting to create something called a cognitive bias. So yeah, I'd be careful of that. Yes, it's very little that we're risking, but in my opinion, I would probably walk away for about an hour before I try to come back. Now, I'm not sure of the time frame in which you would take these 1 to 2 to 3 trades, but I'll be very careful of how you do it. That's just my take. I'm not sure how you would, right?
Yeah, I get that. But it was definitely like the space in between was not even an hour. So yeah, I guess it definitely was over trading.
Because now you, again, a cognitive bias, you're basically forcing yourself to create rules that might not necessarily be there, just because you're so focused on winning this one trade. Right? So you need to be careful with that one. I'm not saying that it was over trading. I'm just saying that it can be considered depending on how you're entering and in the time frame at which you're doing so. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Good. Not bad. What do you think is one thing most other traders might be able to relate to?
All right, say it again, Brandon.
What do you think is one thing most other traders might be able to relate to?
Oh, I think initially at the start, being a trader, it's the emotions, man. Trying to control the emotions, because trading's unforgivable. When you win, and you know, whether it be demo or a real account, there's something about that satisfaction of winning and being a winner, right? And especially when you get a good risk to reward, you're like, shit, like, man, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then, everyone will experience those strings of losses, and you're like back to the dumps. You're back down to where you began, or even below that. So I think all the traders, when you're starting off, and even, maybe the experienced traders at some point would feel just helplessness at times, when you've got a series of losses, and then at the same time you've got the flip side where you feel like, the ego's inflated, you feel like you can do anything. And
Right.
it's just learning to manage and be more in the middle ground, I guess.
Right. So is it safe to say that winning feels worse as opposed to how losing feels bad?
Winning feels worse as opposed to how losing feels bad.
Or I should say, losing feels worse as opposed to how winning feels good.
Okay, I got what you're saying. Yep. 100%. Losing just brings you down. There's no big win that can get you, as close to it, like that emoji state as those losses. Those losses hurt way more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I too would openly speak about this, where I would sometimes go into losing streaks myself. That's just how trading goes, right? There's no trader that I know personally who's actually a trader who does not go through a losing streak once in a while. And it is very important for us within the show, within the Relatable Trader, to acknowledge this and show other people that it's okay, right? It's not so much about when you're losing, it's more about how big you're losing. You don't want those losses to be big, because it can be very, very, very hard to overcome said losses, especially when you have poor risk to reward ratios, right? Yeah?
Yep.
All right. What would you say is the biggest holdback for you as a trader?
Pullback for me as a trader. Initially, the big thing I found out was, I think it was, I don't know, I was on YouTube, just listening to some podcasts and whatnot, and they said you have to trade your time and your lifestyle. And at the time, I was trying to trade London, trying to trade New York in Australia, which is late for me because I wake up quite early.
Right.
That's actually how I found you, Brandon, through trading the Asian session, which was heaps more convenient for me. That by tailoring my lifestyle to trading, it definitely helped a lot. So what was a holdback was trying to trade when I couldn't really trade properly.
So you overcame it by basically adapting trading within to your lifestyle.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. Okay, good. All right. Next question. Have you tried any signals?
Never.
Would you recommend them?
Well, no, I hear too many bad things online, so I'm like, no.
All right. What about a managed account? Has anybody ever managed any of your accounts? Just manage anybody? No money, nothing. No. All right. And would you recommend it? Would you try it?
Look, I've always been the type to just do things myself, man. So I'm not a fan of, if you want to learn something, if you want to get things done, just learn it. That's,
you say if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Right. All right. This is an interesting question. What do you think you need to become successful as a trader right now? One thing.
I think I need time. I need time in the markets, man.
So what you're saying is you think you need to pay your dues?
Yeah, definitely. Like anything in life, man, it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come for free. You either got to invest or put in your time, money, etc. And I just need to put in my time right now.
Interesting. So is it that what you're saying is that if it were easy, everybody would be doing it, right? Nice. Interesting. All right. Just making sure. What is one thing you think you do not need to become successful as a trader? One thing.
As in what I have currently, or what you don't need at all?
Yeah, what you don't need at all.
No, what you don't need at all. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say a cliche in saying, oh, you don't need a strategy, because at the end of the day, you have to make something work, right? So it has to be, you do have to have an edge.
Right.
And mindset is obviously, once you get, to a bigger level, a bigger account, that's going to be the main thing. But I think you need everything, man. A little bit of everything. You can't have nothing. You can't just dismiss something.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting answer. Right. What is the single biggest mistake you think you have made in the not so long that you've been trading here?
Going back on the overtrading thing, I think that was overtrading. Now that I think of it, man. So that's probably not having a big enough gap getting in these trades, and just especially on a 15-minute time frame.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been my biggest mistake.
All right, good. Are there any mistakes that you think you make over and over right now?
No, not currently. Not saying I'm not making mistakes, but just, again, like I said, not enough data, not enough. I'm not seeing enough patterns to make it.
No problem. That's good. That's actually pretty good. All right. There's another thought-provoking question. What is something you think most people who are not traders get wrong about traders?
Hey, oh man, I'm coming from Asian parents, man, and my dad literally yesterday just walked in and he's like, "Why are you gambling for?" I'm like, "Right, I'm just looking at the charts."
Because everybody thinks that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So just a big misconception that, look, trading is gambling, right? You're taking risks, but if you know how to calculate your risk and have an edge, then you're doing something right. So I think the biggest misconception that people have, knowing other people have failed, is they think it's gambling.
But then, and you said it, right? It is gambling. But then when you think about it, if you put it into that perspective, what in life is not gambling?
Exactly.
All right. So that's a good one. All right. I know you use stop losses. What is your current stop loss size? I think it's 10 pips, right?
10 pips, baby.
Beautiful. Excellent. 10 pips or die, right? Have you ever used a stop loss bigger than 10 pips?
I used to, when I was trading other strategies, I would use stop losses based on structure, and then risk to reward based on structure. So everything was very targeted.
So all right, okay, all right, good. What do you know your current win rate?
Okay, not with the current system, Brandon, but I have tracked my previous trades. This wasn't in Forex, but this was in crypto at the time.
Right.
Win rate at the time, what would have been around 30 to 40%, and risk to reward would have been 2.5 to 3 average. So I was just breaking even when I was trading that.
Right.
That's
okay. All right. So the more data you have, obviously, and I know you don't have enough data. This is just to kind of get a baseline, but
yeah.
Obviously, with 30% win to loss and such a low risk to reward, yeah, you would be just around the break-even level, right? Right. So I know your best risk to reward ratio trade thus far is 1 to 5. That's good. This is an interesting question. Do you have a trading plan?
Do I have a trading
plan?
I've been meaning to buy those sticky notes and write it down, but no, I don't have.
Right. So the next piece of advice I would give is try your best to start to get to work on creating that, because remember, you're treating trading as a business, and obviously all businesses need to have their business plan, right? If you don't know what your business is about and you don't know how you're going to run your business, how do you expect to run your business? Right. So I would give a piece of advice to get that sorted out ASAP. Right.
Gotcha.
The interesting thing about trading plan, as we are on this topic, is the easy part is writing the document, right? Whether you use sticky notes or a Word or Google Docs or whatever, that's the easy part. The hard part is sticking to the rules you have written in this document. That's the hard part. So the quicker you get in tune with that, the better it is going to be for you, because you don't want the wrong habits to build too soon, especially as you're so fresh as a trader, right? So that's the next piece of advice I'd give you. The next question I'd have is, do you journal your trades?
Yes, journal in the sense that I will take screenshots and write it down in my Excel, but not journal in the sense that some people, like, they write there how they're feeling, their emotions.
No. So what we're talking about in terms of a journal is exactly what you're talking about. So that's good.
Yeah.
Right. But the question again is, okay, so you journal your trades. Do you review this journal frequently?
Not enough. Not enough.
Because remember, if we had to put what we do as traders into words, right? If somebody asked us to define what we do as a trader, in its simplest terms, we can say that we are paid data analysts, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Analyzing your journal technically counts as being a trader if you think about it, if that's the case, because you're analyzing data.
Yeah.
You're looking for patterns in your journal to see what you can make better and what you can make worse, correct?
Yeah.
So journaling your trades is good, but reviewing this journal frequently to find patterns and make meaningful changes is even better. It's going to make your trading better. You agree with that?
Yeah, true, 100%.
Nice, good. The next question is, how important do you think psychology is in trading?
I think psychology is, and this is personal opinion, I think at the start, it doesn't matter as much as initially you have to learn how to trade, right? You need to learn the basics.
Absolutely.
So after you found a system that works with you, especially if you've known someone to use it like yourself and it's proven to work, I think that's when psychology is 100% the most important thing.
Agreed.
Because you've got something that works and you're trading, Brandon, and you're getting these trades. I'm trading the same thing, supposedly, and I'm not winning as much. What do you think is the difference? It's psychology, right?
Absolutely.
That's the only thing. So when you get when you get your basics and you're good to go, psychology, 100% the main thing.
Absolutely. I agree. I'll give you a beautiful example of that. I have been very transparent in that last week I said that I was in a losing streak. I think you know that, correct?
Yeah.
Right. I was down 3 trades in a row, right? 3% in a row. I walked away from the market after that. Do you think you'd be able to do that? Do you think you'd be able to watch 3 losses in a row on a Wednesday and walk away from the market?
I saw you text that, man. I was like, geez, this guy's just heading out. I don't think I could do that right now, man.
That's the difference. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you name one thing you think that affects you psychologically?
Psychologically, I think it's when I'm in a trade. When I'm in a trade is probably when it's not even, yes, it's emotions where I'm just constantly looking, you know what I mean? Because I trade the Asian session here in Australia, the charts are still flowing when I'm awake. So I'm looking at TradingView and I'm not changing anything. I'm not doing anything to it, but I'm just constantly looking. I've found myself like every hour or two, and I'm not letting the trade just breathe and do its thing. So I think that's, it's a mental capital that I'm wasting when I do that. You know what I mean?
Right. So it kind of come like you're watching paint dry.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So I'll tell you, especially when you're not letting the trade run, one of the things that adds to that is the fact that you're sitting and you're looking at it, right? You're going to want, especially if you've had a losing streak before, you're going to want to close this trade. If it's in profit, you're going to want to close it prematurely, right? And because, I mean, that's just human nature, right? You're seeing something happening good. You want to secure it. You want to make sure that you always have that feeling, that hit of dopamine, right? And by staying in the market frequently or revisiting the market frequently, that happens a lot. So that's why, again, if I'm in a losing streak, as I would have outlined, the best way to not dig deeper is to walk away completely. This is why I love, well, for me, why I love Asian, because for me, what I've realized is when I enter a trade, I can literally just go straight to bed. Asian is night for me. So I can just go straight to bed. If it wins, it wins. If it loses, it loses. I can't do anything from there. You feel me? Yeah. So I'm not allowed the opportunity to watch paint dry. I'm going to paint on the wall and then I'm going to walk away. And when I come back, it'll already be dry or it might be wet, but I'm not going to sit there to watch it. So the advice I can give you on this topic is learn to walk away. Think about it. When you get into the trade, there's only one of 3 things can happen. It can win, lose, or draw. So what are you looking at? You hear me?
Yeah, my question for you then, Brandon, is if let's say I see two setups, right?
So,
Two trades playing out, and I get in one, and the second one is still, it's still doing its thing.
mhm.
How do I would if you were in my situation, would you just look at that one chart that you're not in and just ignore the other one that you're actually in, or would
So,
you, you know?
right. So you've gotten into you're looking at two setups. One is
Yeah.
you're in with a 1% risk. Right. There's nothing you can do unless you close that trade at a loss or break even. Right. Now,
Yeah.
the thing with that is you're kind of playing on thin ice here, because what if you close that trade prematurely and that trade that you were in was actually the one that would win?
Mm.
And it's kind of like a grass is not always green on the other side situation. Right.
Yeah.
Because you might close the trade prematurely thinking that the other one would have been better. And then you know what actually ends up happening? The other one, you get into that one, that loses, and the one that you was in actually ends up winning. So if I'm already in a trade, I tend to not, especially if I'm at a 1% risk, I'm at the cap of 1% risk, I would not try to enter anything else. This is just about letting nature run its course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're trying to find like what's perfect or close to perfect. Okay, cool.
All right. I wouldn't say perfect because it's been made by man. The whole market has been made by man, and anything that is made by man can't be perfect, but we can try to get it to align as best as possible, synchronize as best as possible. Right?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're gambling?
Not currently, because I've got none of my money in right now.
Okay, but in terms of demo, do you ever feel like you're gambling? Like you're taking chances that you know you shouldn't be taking?
Yeah, if you word it like that, yeah.
What do you think you need to change to get a different result from that, a different feeling? What do you think you need to do?
I think the number one thing, man, honestly, is patience. Hey, patience, finding a nice setup, finding something that aligns and has confluences, and just wait for that setup and just trade one or two. Nothing crazy.
Interesting, which ties back into psychology and discipline, right?
Yeah.
Most people think that it's the system, but it's never about the system. It's more about the trader interacting with the system, correct?
Yeah.
All right. We're almost done. So I'm guessing you would not have taken any prop firm challenges as of yet.
No.
Right. But do you think you are trying to go that way?
Yes, eventually, for sure.
All right. No problem. What do you think are some of your toxic traits, or what do you think is a toxic trait of yours?
I think a toxic trait of mine would be, again, patience, man, impatient.
Impatience.
I think that's a majority of people, to be honest.
Agreed. I agree. Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree. All right. What do you think is the biggest obstacle a trader has to overcome? Not you, a trader. This is what your thoughts are on the topic of an obstacle that all traders might have to overcome.
Okay. I never had this problem, but I read online that a lot of people have a problem where they can't lose.
Yeah. Fear of failure.
I don't know how common this is, because it's been in my mind. But I think if it's a majority of people complaining of losing, then I think you got to overcome that, man. That's a big thing.
Agreed. So what you're speaking about there is the fear of failure. And there are many people who are afraid of losing because they feel like it's extremely hard to recover. And that's mostly because of the fact that their risk-reward ratio sucks. So if you have a 1-to-1 and you go into a losing streak, it's almost impossible to recover, right? That's the problem. The name of the game is not to win every single trade, as I always outline. It's more to make sure that the trades that you do win, that they are huge. And so that when you do lose, which is inevitable, let's be honest, when you do lose, it's not the end of the world. It's one of the reasons why I could openly say that I'm going to tell you that I've lost a trade. I could tell you that I've lost 3 trades. I could tell you that I'm on a losing streak. I could tell you what my win-loss ratio is. It's because I know that it's not so much about how many trades I win or lose, but rather it's how big or small I win or lose, respectively. right?
Yeah.
So that's a good answer. Two more. Give me one piece of advice from your perspective as a trader right now. Give the people a piece of advice.
Lifestyle, man. Make sure trading aligns with your lifestyle, and make sure that you're living a life that fulfills and complements trading. So with traders, the biggest asset that we have is the mind, right?
Absolutely.
And you definitely want to keep healthy, your body healthy, your mind healthy.
Absolutely. I love that. And last one, give the people something to motivate them from your perspective.
From my perspective, I'll tell you a story, Brandon, that's actually quite crazy. So I had a losing streak. I was jumping not strategy to strategy as much, but definitely hopping here and there. I went into ICT. I had my, RSI divergence I was doing at the start. I went into just market structure, and I was just lost, right? Especially after those losing streaks. And I was like, I wasn't going to give up, but I was like, man, what am I going to do, right? And I was at work at the time, and I looked at my phone, and I saw Trading Nut, Brandon Abbas Asian session just pop up. Like you were doing one of those live streams with Cam.
Right.
And I was like, man, this got to be a sign. Hey, like it's got to be something going on here. Listen to it. Like I had a break at work, so I just sat down, listened to you guys talk. I was in the chat room as well, just asking questions. And after that, I texted you on Instagram. I was like, Brandon, I'm going to join because I think this is a sign, man. So joined EkataTrading, watched all the videos, still going through some, and it just resonated with me, man. Like the crossover, the Asian session, the market structure, the psychology, everything just ticked the boxes. So I'm just got to do my work now and just get through it.
Nice. So you would say just keep pushing regardless of if you're winning or losing. Just keep pushing.
Keep pushing, and with anything in life, man, it's you're stale for so long, and then you have that push up or down, right? Like it's never gradual. You always find something that just bang, something happens. So just stick with it, man. As long as you just stick with it, you can't lose.
Nice. I like that. I like that. All right. So guys, that is the end of this episode. We hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to hit the like button. Leave a comment with any advice that you have for our guests today. And if you wish to see more, be sure to hit the subscribe button, as we're going to be doing many more episodes like this. Thank you so much to our guest, Ken, for today. Ken, we really appreciate it. If you're interested in being on the show, you can speak and you want to speak your truth, you can get in contact with me via Telegram, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or email. And all the links are in the bio. See you soon and safe trading. Can you relate?